What's up, everybody? Dead Girl here. It is Wednesday, as always, 8 o'clock. You know what that means? It's time for us to have a very special guest on. Our guest this evening wears many hats, from sideshow and burlesque to being a master of ceremonies, an event host, a makeup artist, a model, a costume creator, voice actor. She's also one of the talented people at Beetlehouse, Miss Vita Devoid.
Hello. Hi.
Thank you so much for joining me this evening. And I think I've covered all of the things that you do. Did I miss anything?
No, you even mentioned like the many hats. This was an accidental hat today. I'm excited. I know that's not what you meant.
It's a happy coincidence. Yay! Now, for those of you that are not familiar with you, could you give us a small introduction into who you are, how long you've been an entertainer, you do all of the amazing things?
So I originally I'm from a very small town in Florida called Vero Beach. I've never heard of it either. I got my entertainment start in the nightlife of Tampa in Ybor City.
Nice.
Launched probably one of the oldest burlesque shows in the South now at this point. It's going on like 17 or 18 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I launched a burlesque show. We started working in horror and cosplay and stuff like that. And then I got into circus sideshow and moved to LA at the end of 2017 after all those wacky hurricanes kind of knocked us out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then now I'm just doing a lot of sideshow and horror, mostly burlesque shows within the horror realm, and performing and emceeing for vampire community events. All kinds of weird stuff.
That's awesome. And what drew you, out of all things, because I know there's comic stuff, there's cutesy stuff, what drew you to the horror aspect, especially with burlesque shows? Because A, those are my favorite, and B, there's just not enough of them in my opinion.
So I don't know, man. I have a really, really amazing family, and they're just a bunch of weirdos that are super into spooky, weird stuff. So I think from a very young age, I was watching The Munsters and Bewitched and The Addams Family, and just kind of propelled my interest into that. I like started reading Stephen King and Anne Rice when I was like 9 years old, I think.
Nice.
Got into the weird, kind of intense, creepy stuff, and I was always fascinated with it and kind of needed that. I thrived on it. So even when I was in like middle school and high school, I was carrying around just gigantic horror books.
Yes.
It was to the bane of my existence there. I was the only weird kid in my entire hometown.
That's all right, though. Sometimes that pays off, clearly.
Yeah, it worked out. It was funny, there was somebody on Twitter a few months ago that said, you're the only person who could turn being goth into a career.
I mean, they're not wrong, like, at all.
I'll take it. Yeah. So when I moved to Tampa, I started almost immediately working in the vampire subculture. There's a lot of that in the southern states of the U.S., like between, Texas and Louisiana and Florida, especially. There's a lot of like vampire gothic crossover. So I started working as an MC and show host for several different vampire houses.
Oh,
so and I
nice.
still do that. Even online, we're doing a lot of online broadcasts now.
That's kind of what's happened. Like, everything's just, even though things have shut down and the world has kind of changed a little bit, everything has shifted to that online aspect, which I think is great.
It's okay. I
way.
feel like I don't have to avoid and dodge creepy stalkers at gigs anymore. I can literally roll out of bed and throw on some eyelashes and do a show and then crawl back into bed.
So it's kind of perfect in a way. At least that aspect of it.
Nice. I do. I miss the grit. I miss, dragging a huge 80-pound suitcase of props and costumes through a nightclub crowd.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Trying to get ready in a small room.
If we had a room, usually it was a public toilet stall.
Oh, Jesus.
As a green room. When you go into entertainment, you don't get the theatrical, beautiful green room areas that you see in the movies. You get like
a toilet,
a dirty corner, and a liquor closet.
I mean, sometimes that's what you gotta do.
What you gotta do. I think the worst dressing room I had, it was a storage pod outside of a bar in Gainesville.
Oh, wow. Of course it's Gainesville.
And they had their ice machine in there, and it leaked and ruined everybody's costumes and suitcases because all of our shit was on the floor. So, like, that was fun.
Oh, I can't imagine, not even that, but the cost of what
Oh,
it takes
God.
for all of your stuff. I mean, let's be honest, like costuming stuff, you know, in general is not cheap at all.
And everything is handmade, so you can't just go and buy things and replace them. And the venue, it was just a horrifying event. And I think that bar actually shut down, so it was kind of a giggle, like, good.
That's what you get. It's payback.
Yeah, I think like our light in there was like a bar flashlight, one of those little tiny LED flashlights.
Oh my God, no.
Facing up, so like we didn't even have a light in there. Like,
oh no, no. I'm sorry.
I'll take getting ready in my own house.
Yes, much more comfortable at least.
Oh yeah.
Now, you're not only a fantastic burlesque dancer. I've had the pleasure of watching you perform many times, but you also have some very unique other talents too. I've seen you swallow some balloons. I've seen you grind some metal. I've seen you do some fire breathing. How did you end up getting into the sideshow side of things?
So it kind of just happened. I didn't pursue it. In the way that burlesque kind of found me, I didn't really actively pursue it. It just kind of an opportunity landed in my lap, so I took it.
Nice.
There was a production, I think it was around Gibsonton, which is a big carny town. A lot of retired touring sideshow and freak show talent lived there.
Okay.
Somebody, I guess, got sick and needed a show MC. So I stood in. Nice. And they said, hey, well, we can't really pay you, but we can teach you some cool tricks for your next show.
Okay.
So I started kind of picking up little easy sideshow things and
what's an easy thing?
Nothing.
I was gonna say none of that looks easy.
They're all pretty weird. Easy is kind of not the right word for it, but little things I picked up, like nothing extreme, like getting cut in half in a coffin or anything like that, but just little stuff, little magic and little tricks and things, illusion work. So I started kind of picking these things up, and then I was asked to come back and work more and bring burlesque into the carny shows and the side shows and the circus world. So as I was emceeing, they kind of turned me into a ringmaster.
That's
circus,
cool.
Which was really cool, but then I needed something bigger. I needed bigger things because I was just coming into it as like a burlesque stripper. I don't have like a connection to circus. So I trained under Will Rotten of the Rotten Brothers Sideshow, and he got me on bull whips and fire eating and really, really complex sideshow and interesting like magician's assistant talents and things like that. So I started cultivating and learning from him. And then when I started touring out to like New Orleans, the sideshow culture is really, really big there. So when you work in that, you're kind of hanging out backstage and everyone's drinking, and during breaks or whatever, everyone wants to play and teach each other stuff. So it just kind of kept adding to what I was doing.
That's awesome. And I did pull some really cool pictures, and I pulled two of my favorites that I've seen through yours, because I dug through your Facebook creepy stalker style.
Yay!
So this is probably one of my favorite ones of you grinding some metal. It's sexy, it's badass, it's all of the things rolled into one that I want it to be.
Thank you.
So for something like this where you're grinding metal, how did that come about? Was that also something that you learned while you were kind of with them, just hanging out backstage type deal? Or did you know somebody that was like, hey?
I got into angle grinding. Angle grinding does not really affiliate itself with sideshow that much. That comes more from cabaret, go-go, and fetish parties. In fact, the sideshow community kind of discredits angle grinding as a sideshow talent. It's not really kind of included. I was performing for a femme sideshow company for Lollapalooza in Chicago. Okay. And all of them did angle grinding as a visual accompaniment for nightlife. Basically, like, it was go-go dancers that did those spark shows during nightclub dance hall events. Okay. And we were booked to do a pre-show for Black Sabbath.
Oh, nice.
So it was DJ Zebo and a bunch of us. I think it was Cirque de la Femme. So all of them were these amazing grinder girls and boys, and they had all these wacky metal costumes, and they basically were like, here, hold this muffler. And I'm holding on to like axes and mufflers and like pipes, and they're grinding on it, and I was fucking terrified.
Oh, I'm sure.
Then, they started showing me how to source my materials so I could make my own steel costumes, and they got me trained up and really, really brave. And then I was asked to join a Jenna Torturers tour, which is a shock rock band very similar to Alice Cooper.
Yes.
And they always had ankle grinding in their shows. So I had to really crash course it and get brave very quickly. You can really hurt yourself with those. You can sever tendons, you know, it's a grinder wheel.
Oh, yeah.
But that's scary. So I ended up on I think like a 2-week national tour with them and was doing, you know, a show a night, grinding sparks all over the place, and kind of got really into it that way. Yeah, it was just another thing that I just kind of got thrown into, like, hey, I can adapt and figure this out and I'm not scared. So
you just added that to your repertoire of things.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal. Again, you know, one of my favorites. The fire eating and things like that. How did you end up getting into that? Because that, I mean, first of all, I love fire.
That was entirely Will Rotten of the Rotten Brothers Sideshow. He taught me everything with fire. He taught me how to make my own torches. He had like a workshop at his home. He's one of the most incredible sideshow talents I've ever known. And everything he does is sensational and weird and twisted and gross and wrong. But he just dumped all of this incredible knowledge with me. And he was working with us as a talent with our burlesque shows all over the state in Florida. And just we became good friends and started working together. And he got me really studied quickly and safely on the fire. I really don't recommend learning fire from like a drunk bartender at a party. I recommend getting in touch with a circus professional who knows what they're doing and can teach you proper technique, because there is a lot that goes into it. But the funniest part of it is my father and my grandfather were both firemen.
Really?
They were not okay with that. I was outed. My parents know what I do to an extent. My dad, he's just like, yeah, I work in show business. It's not like he knows exactly everything I do.
Right.
But I had this really cool, like, kind of punk rock aunt, and she outed me. I was in a newspaper.
Oh, no.
In my hometown, and she slaps it on the dinner table. She goes, yeah, that's really freaking cool how you did that there. And my dad is, like, eating dinner, and he just drops his fork and silently gets up and walks away.
Aww.
He was so upset, and it's like, I did not put out fires for my entire career for you to eat fire.
But I mean, in a way, you're kind of putting them out, right?
He got around
Not
to it,
really.
and he saw my ankle grinding photos. And he goes, you know what? I saw some carny do that at a bar in Daytona Beach during Bike Week. That's really cool. And he became okay with it. It's
Okay.
like, I promise I'm safe, Dad. And then he started seeing my fire breathing photos, which are ridiculous. Like my sustained fire breathing is it's huge. It's not small.
No, they're big and they're absolutely beautiful.
Thank you. It made him a little nervous, but I mean, I was taught to harness fire as an element I can control. So I was raised to never be afraid of it. I think I was lucky there.
Is he okay with it now?
Oh, I'm sure he is, yeah. He has nothing bad to say about it.
Good.
It's kind of like, you're going to do what you're going to do. And if I tell you no, you're going to do it worse.
Right. Because I'm dad and it doesn't matter. The minute you say no, it's that childish, you know, where you're like, I kind of have to now.
Well, now now that you're telling me I can't, I'm just going to do it bigger.
Yep.
It was one of those. Yeah. And he knows I'm like that. He's the same way. So it's like, hey, you can't do that. Watch me do that.
Check this out. Just saying.
Yeah, I'm sure he's seen it. I mean, I was in newspapers all the time, so it's like he's gonna come across it.
Oh yeah, it's phenomenal. So, out of all of the amazing things that you've learned to do, what's your favorite thing to do while you're performing? What's the one thing that
the ankle grinding?
Is it?
Or the balloon swallow? That one gets me a lot of marriage proposals.
Oh, I bet. They are not little either. They are some big old balloons, and I'm just like, damn.
Yeah, they're pretty. Actually, I have them right next to me.
How did you?
I don't know. I don't have the right framing to do it live, but if you hop on YouTube and look for Vita Devoid balloons, it'll come up. Yeah, there's a lot of fun video of that.
Now, how did you train for something like that? Because that's definitely a lot different as opposed to ankle grinding or, you know, playing with fire. Is that just something that gradually over time?
I can't remember where I picked that up. I think that came from New Orleans when I was working in New Orleans Sideshow. All the carnies there, just like, let me show you this weird thing. Hey, try this. See if you die. I'm sorry.
Right? If you die, oops.
Oops.
I guess.
You had fun going, right? Yeah, I don't remember, but that was one of my staples at Beetlehouse because the lead up to it, it's a lot of talking, and it's like, hey, do you guys like balloon animals? Look at the balloon in the pump and start pumping up a balloon. People are, yay, yeah, I do. And I'm like, well, I can't make that. I don't know how to do that. How about sword swallowing? You guys like sword swallowing? And all the kids, yeah, let's sword swallowers. I'm like, yeah, they don't let me handle knives after the last time, so.
I'm not allowed to play with sharp things.
Sucks for you. Yeah, but it's like, I combine the best of both failures, and I'm going to swallow this 5.5-foot long balloon.
It's still a win.
It's a win, yeah. It's fun. It's funny because the kids are like, what the hell? This girl's gonna die. The dads are always like,
yeah. You see that look in their eyes.
The women are like,
teach me your ways.
Teach me how did you do that? So yeah, look that up. It's real fun.
It is. I'll see if I can't find a video and I'll post it when we're done so that if you guys are interested in checking out some balloon swallowing by Vita, you can do so because it's.
If I had like a better frame here, I could do it live for you, but it's probably
you're good.
You wouldn't get the whole. It's like a lot. I mean, it turns me into like a 15-foot tall giant because it's huge and goes straight up, so I swallow it.
Well, I mean, you're not exactly short anyway. I'm just saying.
No, I'm a giantess. I'm really big. I'm not a little person. Yeah. I'm sitting down right now. I feel like adequate. This is great.
Now, with all of your performances, you make all of your own costumes.
I do.
You've come up with some phenomenal characters. There's so many. I've seen you do a couple of David Bowie's. I've seen you do Lydia Dietz. I know that you're working on a couple of new ones right now, right?
Yeah, actually. So I'm working on, it's a vanity project because I don't have a stage right now. So I'm kind of just killing time, and I've always wanted to make 2 costumes from Bram Stoker's Dracula. And they were both Lucy Westenra's costumes. So I'm building her red Garden Labyrinth night wear.
I love that.
And then it's done. I'm just rhinestoning it right now, but it's all the red gauze and the corset with the orange and the red ribbon on it and the cape. And I have some fake hedges coming, so it's going to look like I'm in a labyrinth once I eventually film it. And then what's going on top of that is her white death gown with the giant white plume and the turban and like
I don't know which one I like more. They're both so beautiful for obviously different reasons, but I can't wait to see them.
It's grotesque. That character was grotesque. She was disgusting from start to finish, and I wanted to be her so bad when I was a kid. I mean, I want to be a monster.
I think deep down, most little girls really do want to be a monster. I did as a kid.
I feel like we're a rare breed because all of my friends wanted to be Barbie or princesses or like a queen, and it's like, I want to be a Dracula bride and like eat children. I don't know.
Yes. I want to be a werewolf and rip your face off.
I want to be a cannibal, and I want to be a Wendigo, and I want to be Dracula. Like, I want to be Lestat. I want all of this gross shit.
Yes. Yes.
I want to play in guts. And I'll be pretty while I do it, I promise.
Right? I'll smile the whole time and look beautiful, but check out these intestines.
I'm chewing on some intestines. I don't know. It just, I love that. I like the juxtaposition of like pretty and disgusting. Like, I love that together. I think it's such a nice like peanut butter and jelly.
Yes. It's a good fit.
It's a good fit, yeah.
They mesh very, very well. And I know I've got a couple of yours that I did pull. I didn't pull all of them because, again, there's so many, and they're all amazing for different reasons. But I did pull these 2.
Oh, Lydia.
I love her so much.
So that was basically, I bought a dress from Wish. And I have a lot of photo backdrops because, I mean, I do a lot of photography, so I just have like this whole rack of backdrops, and I was doing an event for Beetlehouse, and I have never done Lydia Dietz, and I've always loved her. I perform as her mother. I perform as Delia Dietz. Yes. I put the dress on, and I was like, oh, wait, I built this 30-foot-long sandworm. So that is actually the sandworm that's wrapped around my body is actually a gown that's made to look like a sandworm is eating me, and it wraps all around me.
Oh, wow.
Like Medusa, basically. So when I wear that at Beetlehouse, it's like there's like a headdress and all this crazy makeup that goes with it. Like I'm the second mouth inside the sandworm. So I just kind of wrapped it around myself and took a bunch of naked pictures. That's fun. That's what that is.
There's nothing wrong with that at all.
There's actually a hilarious one on my OnlyFans where the sandworm is eating me and I'm trying to like scream and reach for the camera, but it's very naked and I can't share that on Facebook.
You'll get
but it's a really funny one. So it's like, hey, I'm doing some naked pinup photos, but there is a purpose.
There's some really good stuff in there. I know I've got another one too of your Vampira who is on point.
Oh, yeah.
And
that's the same backdrop that's behind me right now, actually. Nobody believed that that's a picture of me.
I can understand it because when you do your characters and you create your costumes, you very much transform into that character. So it doesn't really look like you as you are now.
I try to disappear into them as much as I can. One of my MCs down in Miami calls me the Johnny Depp of burlesque.
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong, and it was very fitting. But that Pennywise, that was actually my 37th birthday with Beetlehouse. We did an It takeover. It was during the It premiere.
Oh, awesome.
Or It 2, which I still haven't seen, and we turned Beetlehouse into a clown freak show. So we had every cinematic clown represented at Beetlehouse, and I was that original Pennywise.
Wow.
It was disgusting. It was a disgusting party. Like, we hung freak show banners everywhere. We had Twisty there. We had every Pennywise. We had, Captain Spaulding was there represented. Aww. We had the Joker, like several different Jokers. It was a really, really cool party, but it was bloody.
Nice.
I still, if I go to the green room, there is blood splatter on the walls. Like, I still have to, don't look. I'm just going to toothbrush this.
This will come off eventually. Give it time.
I'll get a magic eraser. Don't worry. That's mine. Don't worry.
That's awesome. I love it.
Had a really good time with that Pennywise. That was really fun.
Oh, she looked like fun. I've seen quite a few of the pictures with her on Instagram, and I absolutely love it. She's disgustingly fantastic.
Good. But it's actually a friend of mine got me a veneer, and it was from it was like a Phantom SFX or something, and it was a full shark tooth veneer. So all of my teeth were shark teeth. So
that's fantastic.
I couldn't speak, but it was perfect because I could drool and be gross and chew on stuff.
You'd really get into it and not have to. That's awesome. I love it. I blew up one of the pictures. Didn't really blow up. There's a slew of some of them. So these are a portion. Clearly, you've got plenty others.
A few things I've done.
But I do have to ask, out of all of the costumes and all of the characters that you've created, which one is your favorite? Which one do you find yourself slipping back into the most?
Lately, it's Vampira. I work for a company called Kingdom Harvest, and we're working on some upcoming spooky season stuff, so I'm going to be doing some Vampira work for that.
Yay!
I just like being a glamour ghoul. But I think the one that I do the most, that is the most fun for me, is Lucille Ball.
Yes!
There's a couple of frames of her in that, but I love being Hellboy. I have a really great time as the Joker, but Miss Argentina was a huge call for me. Vampira, I work as her a lot, and Lucy. It's what I get out of this is I enjoy bringing joy to people. And it's not so much what my favorite thing to wear is, it's what gets the best reaction and the most happiness from other people. I think that's an important thing when you're an entertainer, is you're getting the right effect.
Right.
And the way that people respond. So I started bringing Lucy to Dragon Con. Just as I walk around, it's a comfortable costume. It's just a dress.
Right. It's easy to slip in and out of.
It's easy to be her. And everyone just loves that so much. And everyone reacts really well to it. And if I do something like David Bowie, it gets a mixed reaction because some people are really sexualizing the Goblin King or Ziggy Stardust. It's a very different energy that comes at me, and it's that's enough.
Right. All right, step it down.
Yeah, like there was somebody at an event in Orlando. I was the Goblin King, and this man just walked right up to me and grabbed my crotch because he wanted to see what the bulge was. And it's like,
That's
oh,
ballsy.
yes, hilariously. It was ballsy. But yeah, Lucy, it's just like, oh my God, like everyone just gets all excited and happy, and it makes me happy to bring that to people.
She's almost an American staple, really. I mean, she
Totally.
really is. I grew up with her, watching her and Ricky and the shows and with my grandparents. So that was one of the few things that my grandmother on my mother's side would watch that she enjoyed and I enjoyed. So it was, yeah.
She had such an interesting career too, because she was a blonde. She was a Hollywood blonde for a very long time. And she was working for this studio that would just never feature her as an actress, as like one of the bombshell blondes. She just didn't really quite have it. She ended up meeting Buster Keaton, and he taught her comedy. He taught her how to be funny and take a pie to the face and funny reactions and all this stuff. So she became the comedy queen.
Right.
And all of the blonde actresses were friends with her, and they were encouraging her, like, look, there's 1,000 of us.
Right.
None of us
do
are funny
something
girls.
new.
The funny will last forever. Be the funny one. So she did. And she became so popular that she actually bought this studio that kept like oppressing her.
Oh, wow.
And fired the entire staff and like kept all of like the stage crew. And like that was Desilu Studios, which also launched Star Trek. So if we're nerdy people, we have an appreciation for Lucy.
Oh, I did not know that. That is some very interesting information.
That Star Trek launched. She gave them their pilot. She gave them the studio space. Yep.
Wow.
Yep, she was one of the first women in entertainment to accomplish something like that, to own a studio. She was the first woman to feature an interracial couple. She was one of the first celebrities to feature a married couple sleeping in the same bed. She changed a lot for entertainment. So I deeply value that, and I hope that one day a legacy that I leave behind could make an impact like her.
And I don't think a lot of people realize that she's had that type of impact just because they remember her from I Love Lucy.
Yeah, she was just a funny one, and that's fine. But she changed the world of entertainment. She really, really did.
I love it. I had no idea. So thank you so much for sharing that information. It was very eye-opening.
I'm a little passionate about Lucy. She and I have a history. We go way back.
You're kindred souls in a way.
Yeah. I don't know. I really do wish that Deborah Messing would be in a biopic as Lucy, though. I think that would be like the top casting as Lucille Ball.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm going to agree. Now, you've also done, aside from, all of your characters, you've also performed at various venues, various events. One of the events that you've done that I've attended for God, like my whole life, was Spooky Empire. Yes. So you've done the show there for, God, what, ever?
15 years.
Wow.
Yeah, that was actually when we first launched my burlesque show. We weren't there for their first one down in Fort Lauderdale, but their first one in Orlando. We were one of the opening night acts, and it was just phenomenal, and it became like a close family almost immediately.
Right.
And we were there for every single spooky after that. Yeah.
Oh, I remember. I went to quite a few of them and watched and enjoyed, and just between, the sexiness of it and the costuming aspect and just the sheer talent of all of the ladies involved was just...
I've been very blessed with that event because I am a big advocate for getting paid fairly and earning a wage to do a show. That is the one event that I will always do just gratis because I want to be there. And the crowds that we get, we have one of the biggest draws of that entire convention, and it's huge.
Oh, yeah.
And I joke with my cast whenever we do a casting for it, it's like, hey, I can't offer you a guaranteed salary, but you want to do this event, promise. Yeah. You're gonna be like really happy when you take this event. So as soon as any of them, even if it's their first experience with Spooky Empire, the second they load in, they're treated like a rock star. Like everybody knows they're a part of my show, and it's constant photos and like take pictures with me and like people talking to us and lining up, and it's obscene. Like it's the only thing. I mean, I work in Hollywood, like, and that is the event that I go to. That's just Christmas every year for me.
That's awesome. Yeah. I love it.
It's always home. It's always home.
It is. It's so funny because like I've never saw a burlesque show until I saw you guys at Spooky, and I was just like,
and it's interesting because for about the first 12 years, we were not allowed to do actual burlesque. We had to stay clothed.
Right.
So we had to really work around regulations with the convention spaces and the fact that we were not able to really screen ages that were coming in.
Right.
So eventually, after proving ourselves for over a decade, they kind of let us like, hey, you can do a little booby action if you want to.
A little boob's okay.
A little boob as a treat, a sprinkling of boob, and it was funny because it didn't even make a difference with the crowd. They were just there for us regardless, because any time we had those shows, I mean, I was bringing talent from all over the country. People were coming from all corners of the nation to be there. So I was very, very lucky to get who I was able to get to perform for that show. And I was very lucky that every time we did it, there was a line wrapped around the entire convention hall. And it was the most stressful event that I do, because it's like I don't ticket that myself. I don't handle the promotion myself. And I always think, oh, no one's going to come to this. And every time
everybody comes to it.
Well, it's funny because Petey and I, the man who runs Spooky Empire, just, we've become like, he's like my brother. But I'll kind of wear like a costume, like a mask or like a hoodie or something, and I'll plain clothes it, and I'll walk the line with him. And I'll be like, they're all here for you. This is so cool. And it's like, no, they're not. And then I'll ask people online, like, hey, what are you waiting in line for? And they're like, oh, the vaudevillains. And it's like, that sounds stupid. What's that? So I troll people in line, and I started getting the rest of my cast in on it. We started doing that like a couple of years ago. So now every time we'll get like all of our stuff loaded in and sound checked, and then we'll just plain close it. Like, what's going on? What is this? Why are you guys all like waiting? I don't understand. And it's just the line will end, and then PD will drag me outside the convention hall, and it's still
going.
Like a few hundred people loading in for that. There's nothing like that in the world. It's wild.
Yeah. It's fantastic, which leads me to my next question is, how do you cast a show like that?
Okay, so I did mention that is like a gratis show, which I am strongly against ever doing anything for, just as a favor.
Yeah.
So what I'll do is, because that event has been going for so long, and because we've been the sole burlesque show for that, what I've tried to do is make it as incorporated as I possibly can with all body types, all ethnicities, all gender representations, all orientations. Like, I want this to be
everybody,
a completely inclusive show. And a lot of people that are outside of like the generic, like, I'm a skinny white girl with big fake booties, like outside of that,
right?
A lot of people don't necessarily get a lot of freedom with what they're able to do on stage. So it's kind of like any one of us that has a vanity act we've made, which means just one we've done for us. That's like our little project,
right?
For me, like the Dracula thing. That's just for me.
Yes.
They've got this one dream act they want to do where it's just fucking weird and creepy and odd, and it's like obscene. Or it pulls from like gender identities that are like politicized and incredibly rude.
Yeah.
This gives them a space to put that on a stage and shock people and get them talking and get them thinking. And from the very jump, we had one of the first boylesque reviews in the country. We had, I think, 5 or 6 men on stage with us that were cis men. And they had their own little dance group within our production. And it was funny because everyone was really nervous about having male bodies in a burlesque show.
Right.
Because that's typically like stripper chicks, right?
Yeah.
Those boys consistently got the biggest fan reactions of the entire show. Like, I would have gigantic biker dudes coming at me like, who is that Steve Urkel guy? He was really sexy. And it's like, there we go. Perfect. Yeah.
Done. Your work is done. At that point, you're like, and
done.
Good.
We've done things. We've inspired people. We've politicized our bodies in a way that you can't look away from it, because we're gonna get in your face and climb on top of you, and you're gonna enjoy it,
whether you want to or not.
Yeah, and it's like, these are passion projects for us. So yeah, like I think the last year was the first one I wasn't able to make, and the entire history of our working with them, I wasn't able to be there. But I hope that I can return when we can finally safely have another convention. I do miss it dearly. I miss everyone that's there, and I miss hosting the panels for that. I miss the guests. I miss my girls and my boys and everybody in between. So
you guys are very much missed. There's some spooky regulars in the chat talking about, you know,
really?
How much they enjoy
I've been
it.
ignoring it.
Oh yeah, sorry. I've got one of the girls is saying how she'll never look at a staple gun the same way again.
Oh yeah, that's another thing I do. I people staple gun money to my body. That I did pick up in New Orleans. They stapled a bunch of show posters to my body and had me walk around a venue.
Oh wow, okay, that's a good way to get attention. That's for sure.
It was a thing that happened.
Well, I personally hope to see you guys back at Spooky. I know there's a lot of other people that hope to see you guys back soon. Once, of course, the world returns to a form of normality and safe.
Yeah, I miss everyone so much. I really do. I miss Dina. I miss Petey and Gina. I miss Alan. I miss the whole crew. And I miss our sound guys. Like, I never get to see them. I miss my light crew. I miss my cast. I want to come home. That's always like the home, and the girls and boys that have been doing our show with that,
they understand that that's
home. That's our, like, we always have a little round of drinks backstage, and you know, through the hustle of it all, it is a very stressful event for us, but that is one of our favorite things to do every year.
Girl, you got me all misty-eyed and whatnot over here.
Stop. Like, I just want to come home and do that.
Stop making me feel things.
I'm feeling so many things talking about it. It was just such a huge part of my production's upbringing. That was like our first big show, and you know, being able to be there for it and watch that entire convention grow as it did. I mean, so many people became very close family members for me for that.
It's definitely an amazing thing.
Yeah.
Oh, there's Alan. Alan's in there right now.
Oh, is he?
Uh-huh.
Hi, Alan. I love you. I miss you.
He's trouble, that one. I don't know.
Well, I like him heckling me from the crowd. You can't mistake his voice.
Oh, that accent? Not at all.
You can't mistake his voice. Yeah, I miss it so much. I'm really glad that I have a bunch of cake makeup on right now because I'm turning all red and sad.
It's holding up well.
I got a fan on me, that's why.
There you go. Perfect. Now, along with working with Spooky and many other amazing events here in Orlando, as you said before, you relocated to LA before the pandemic hit, and you ended up working at Beetlehouse.
Beetlehouse, yes.
So I know you guys are still shut down, right?
Yes.
But you guys are you still doing some of the live shows? Or like on, internet?
What we're doing, there's two active venues for Beetlehouse. Sometimes they'll arrange a pop-up bar in different parts of the country. So there is Beetlehouse New York, which is the original one, and Beetlehouse LA, which is where I work. And it actually took me like 2 years of auditions to get on with them. It was I want this fucking job. I got that fucking job. It was like, yeah, that's the only thing I want to do out here is work at Beetlehouse. I got it. So, yeah, so we had a freak show house there, and that was really fun. Ooh. But what we're doing, excuse me, I'm like drinking wine.
It's okay.
What we're doing now is we do still have access to the venue space, but what we're doing is online live streams from our various homes in different parts of the country. So we have so much talent from New York, Washington, D.C., Las Vegas, and here that we were doing weekly Saturday night Beetlehouse live shows, and we were theming them. So like 1 week would be the Edward Scissorhands show, 1 week would be the Beetlejuice show,
nice.
1 week would be the Tim Burton Spectacular, and it was just anything that was Tim Burton was in there, or Alice in Wonderland, which was a really good one that we had. And the talent range is so huge because a lot of it is musical theater. A lot of it is freak shows. So you've got a lot of like interesting physical talents.
Okay.
You've got a lot of fire performers that can broadcast from their homes.
Right.
I do a lot of just emceeing. I'm just the show host, but I'll do a little bit of sideshow here and there. Like I'll do the balloon swallowing or whatever little things I eat, light bulbs or, you know, random stuff, whatever. Or like whatever comedy bits I can throw in. But yeah, we did one, I think like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it was just kind of a random one that we did. We tried to reopen the LA location, and it just, we got shut down almost immediately.
Oh,
LA
wow.
has been on back and forth. Like they literally gave us no notice. They were like, okay, you're closed today. And it's like, we just did food prep.
Wow.
So we took a break as the venue reopened, and then they shut down again. So we did another live. But through most of the pandemic lockdown, we've been doing weekly shows. We've been taking a little time off. We actually even did a burlesque show. I got to produce a burlesque show for them online, which was great because I got to pull talent from all over the world, which was like,
awesome.
I will never have the opportunity to do this. So it was like, okay, we're going to get a little bit of one of everything I can find. So it was really, really cool.
Now, is there any way for anyone to watch like a replay of this, or is it just like you do it, it's live, and it disappears?
We do those shows on Crowdcast, so I can contact our producer and see if she might have some that are recorded. I think if you just, we can, if you want to see it, just, you know, send me a Facebook message and I'll grab it and forward it and see if you want to grab it late ticket for a previous broadcast.
Okay.
Oh my God, we did like 25 shows.
Wow.
So there's plenty to choose from, and they were all spectacular. Like it was cute because anytime we'd finish one, we'd always stay online after, like in a video call, and just cry and love each other. Like, oh, this is my favorite one. So I think just send me a message and I'll forward it to our producer and see if we can get a past broadcast on. I'm not sure how long they stay active.
Right.
That's something I should ask about. Yeah, I'll see if I can do that.
That would be cool, because I'm sure there's people who missed it and would like to, you know, check something like that out again.
And they're family friendly. Like you can park your kids in front of the screen and, you know, go get freaky in the bathroom and like let us entertain your family for a little while. You know,
we'll give you a break from the kids.
We'll give you a break. Let us take the kids. You guys go off, and we got this. You have 1 hour. You have 1 hour.
I love it. Now, I know with you guys doing some of the live shows with Beetlehouse, as a performer in general, the pandemic's really kind of sucked for you guys as far as doing anything at like any type of, you know, venue or actually getting like the face-to-face with people. How has that altered the thought process behind your online performances? Because I know we chatted a little bit before, and you've kind of had to like up your game on certain things.
So, in the beginning, all we had to do was create an act. You pick a song, you make the costume, you create the act, you put it on a stage, the end.
Yes.
Then it became, you have to become a music producer. So you have to create mixes and song tracks and all this stuff for your live shows. And then the pandemic happened. We lost our venues. We had to figure out how to build venue spaces in our own homes. And what happened was a lot of people with families and small children and limited space couldn't keep up. So they're just shit out of luck. They don't have the privacy or the broadcast bandwidth,
right,
or, you know, the capability to film anything. We had to acquire studio lighting and stage surfaces and backdrops. Like I installed massive curtains, and I'm a photographer anyway, so I know how to make a scene look good and dress a set. Yes. But not everybody knows how to do that. So all of us had to basically become audiovisual engineers overnight, and cinematographers overnight, and video editors overnight, with zero education and zero notice.
Wow.
And it's very, very hard to do. So that was extremely detrimental. And the big problem is we have no danceable space. The way that these screens work is you only have so much frame. I'm working in a 3 square foot space in my bedroom, and I have to do full dance pieces. So a lot of my bigger acts just don't fit in here. Like I can't do my giant capes or my giant feather fans. I just don't have the ability to do that. So doing these live stream shows, it's also like, how good is your Wi-Fi? Are we blocky? Are we smooth? Does the sound work? Does it line up? Is there lag? Like, it's a fucking nightmare. It's a fucking nightmare. The next time I do a live show, I am buying a keg of beer for my audiovisual crew. Like, I am so sorry y'all had to put up with us being assholes before this. Here's beer.
I know how you feel.
I get it now. Yeah, and like we're just doing this basically like little kids are teaching us how to do this shit on YouTube.
Oh yeah, and that's the messed up part. Like these little kids that are on YouTube are like
they're killing the game.
Geniuses, man.
These kids are just killing it. Like I had to learn how to use my podcast mic by like a 10-year-old child doing a YouTube video. It's like I don't know how to do this or make anything. I didn't know what Audacity was. Like I don't know how to do any of this stuff.
But yet the kids know, man. They're like literally born with an adapter plugged into their gut that they just took in and immediately...
Like, they turn 10 and they know everything. And it's like, bless you, teach me how to program my VCR. I'm a boomer now. Look at me, I'm the boomer now.
The VCR, oh my God.
Yeah, it was hard. It's very hard, you know. And I have carpet here, so I can't even wear shoes when I do my dance shows. It's like I'll trip and fall down, so...
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
So it's definitely been challenging, then, I would say, for you guys.
It's not been easy, and then people that don't have the room are basically filming acts in their kitchens with their oven and fridge behind them and like a kid interrupting or a dog interrupting, and it's like
I know. It's sometimes it can be rough.
It's a lot. There was a mishap with a show on Zoom, and you have the ability to mute everyone's mics that are attending. This is a very important thing. There was a strip act, a very nasty, naked strip act happening live on Zoom, and somebody's toddler busted in
on
mommy, who was watching, and you hear this kid screaming about juice to its mommy. And because the mics will dominate each other on Zoom, the music for this stripper cut out, and all you hear is this child screaming about juice to its mom.
Wow.
And it was actually, it became an issue because it was very clearly an abusive household, because this woman started screaming at her child.
Jesus.
For interrupting and like hit her kid. And you heard it while this woman is on stage on Zoom
doing
naked,
her thing
on a stripper pole. You hear this woman beating the shit out of her kid.
Jesus.
And it's just the audio dominated her music. So it's like,
wow.
Please somebody call CPS and check on this child. Like, oh my God. And it was just humiliating because the performer didn't know. All she can hear is her own audio playing on her computer while she performs. So it's like...
She had no clue any of this was going on.
No idea. And she's like, nasty. It was a nasty act.
Wow.
And of a child being screamed at.
Jesus.
That's the kind of stuff we have to work around, and it's just not been a fun adjustment.
No, I don't think I would be good with that. Holy shit.
Oh, it was awkward, and I was the MC, so as soon as that act was over, the screen went back to me, and I was just like,
I don't even know what to say right now.
Round of applause, everybody.
Meanwhile, you want to be like, I can hear you beating your kid, you asshole.
I can hear you slamming your kid's face into the floor. Maybe you should probably log off and be a better parent.
Go be a mom. Wow.
Mommy, stop watching stripper shows. It was weird. It was so weird.
Jeez.
So that's how things have changed. We don't get to screen 21 and up to a venue anymore. We have to deal with that
craziness now. Wow. I didn't even think about that at all.
Oh, it was, none of us did. None of us expected it.
And then it happened and everybody was just like, holy shit.
Yeah, because on Zoom, like, your mic will dominate the sound of anyone else if you're loud, and the screen will flip to you, whoever's viewing it, and it's like, hey, did you mute everybody? I don't think you did.
There's one that's not. Just saying.
Someone's actively abusing their toddler.
Jeez. That's a bit much on that one there. So on that lovely, lovely note, I know there are some people that I know, and then there's some people out there as well who are interested in doing, you do like a million things, let's face it, but who are interested in getting into the entertainment industry, specifically into burlesque. Ooh. What kind of advice would you give someone who would come to you and be like, Auntie Vita, I want to do this. Like, what would you say to that budding child that wants
Pull
to do
up
her
a
thing?
chair, because Auntie Vita is going to have her way with you. So I'm making my hat a little more jaunty because this is a lot that I'm going to say.
Okay.
This takes a lot of gathering of thoughts. I didn't have a traditional introduction into the world of entertainment. I had to make a show. There were no existing burlesque shows to just audition for. I had to create one.
Okay.
So my genesis is not a story to base your genesis on. Find the shows you want to work for. Go to every show you can. Look for inspiration with every show you can, because everyone runs their productions differently. Every show is themed differently. Everyone is cast differently.
Mm-hmm.
Some productions hire only LGBT people. Some productions only hire BIPOC people. Some productions only hire skinny, tiny little white girls. Some productions only hire strippers or fetish people or drag queens. So find the shows you want to be a part of. Attend them like crazy. Go to everyone you can. Introduce yourself to the director or the showrunner, the producer, the MC. Ask if any of them need a stagehand. We call them stage kittens in the world of burlesque. You're basically a stagehand, stage manager. So you handle all the props and getting costuming on and off the stage and setting up the next act.
Okay.
That is the quickest way to get in, is say, I want to be a stagehand for you. How can I help?
Okay.
You will see how these productions run, because it isn't what you see from an audience perspective. That's maybe 2% of an entire show.
Right.
Everything that happens behind that curtain is the entire show, and it is extremely stressful, and it's very, very hard, and it's a lot of hustling and fast, stressful, hard work. It's a lot of hard work. We make it look good and look easy, and we make it look dazzling. That is the ground up foundation of what you're going to need to be able to progress your career into being an entertainer. Is you need that foundation. You need to see how these things work, because if you can handle that, you can handle being a stagehand, you can handle being an act. Okay. So after you put in a little time and you get your face in front of these producers and these show directors and these other performers, and your eagerness will, kind of show through, and like, I want to be involved. What can I do for you? How can I be of assistance? Do you need extra hands? What can I help you with? Do you need scissors, thread, tape? What do you need? I've got it in my purse right here. Stage mom, help you. What do you need?
Yeah.
Be helpful. That's it. That's your way in. That's like surefire way to get in. Eventually you'll see how these things run, how their costumes are put together, how they create their act, how their music works, how they rehearse. How they can tour, how they book shows. So you're getting a full free education just being involved with it and working from the ground up. There's no degree or schooling or college for a burlesque career. You can go to school for theater. It's not the same thing. You can go to school for concert production. It's not the same thing. Right. This is a very niche business, and it is an industry. It is a job. Right. It's a very different one. So it takes hands-on experience just coming up in it. Create an act. Find the music that you want to dance around to. Have a character you want to emulate or a costume you want to build. Create your own act. Have it well rehearsed, well polished, and audition it for that show that you want to work in. Say, I have this amazing act. I want to give it to you. Here's some photos and a resume and what I want to do for you. And I have an act, and it's going to be great. And hopefully you can audition it, and they will cast it, and you'll have your debut. And then hopefully it'll all be uphill from there.
I love that. That's the best advice I think that you could give on something like that, is to get in and to learn. Because you're right.
Do it.
Seeing it from the audience side is a very different perspective.
Very different experience. And I never had that experience as an audience member because there were no burlesque shows when I started mine.
Right.
It was in 2002. There were no burlesque shows in Florida. The last one died out in the 70s. So it's like, hey, I don't even have YouTube to look up what a show was. I just had to figure it out. So like these girls coming up in it have access to YouTube. They have access to a cabaret show 7 nights a week. Most cities have shows.
Oh, yeah.
Just attend one and see it for yourself. So it's a resource that I didn't have. And I'm kind of glad that I didn't have that, because I, from the ground up, had to build a job. but it's also, I kind of do wish that I had a mentor or somebody to teach me, and I didn't have that. I didn't have burlesque legends that I could contact and learn how to do things from them. I didn't have that.
Yeah.
So now these girls and boys, whoever wants to come up in the world of burlesque, they have access to all of these things. So it's, you already have this foundation backing you and hands lifting you up that can help you make a career.
Yeah.
So utilize all of these things. The only other advice I can give for going into the world of cabaret arts and nightlife is to remain as humble and polite as you can. Okay. You can be the most beautiful, diamond encrusted, gorgeous, sexy, hot creature on that stage. But if you have an insufferable and rude attitude, no one is going to give you a gig.
Right. It pays to be nice.
It pays to be nice. Yeah.
So, I mean, I personally, if it were up to me and I were casting anything or having to work with someone, if you're a dick, I'm not going to work with you. And that's just plain and simple. And that's honestly, I think that's true for every business, but especially in the entertainment business.
Yeah, it is. And I had to really work through who I wanted to be my core entertainment people that I would cast in all my shows pretty constantly. It was like 5 or 6 people. There were beautiful performers that I just could not hire because nobody wanted to work with them. So it's like, hey, you know what? You're beautiful. I can't book you. I'm sorry. Nobody will work with you. Doesn't matter how pretty you are.
Have you had to say that to somebody? Like, look, you're great, but
yeah. I've had performers that I cast as like a, hey, I'll try you out and I'll put you on this event.
Yeah.
And we'll see how you do. And I've actually had venue owners come up to me and ask me to never bring them in the front door again.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. If it comes down on me as a producer hiring talent, that even the venue owner, who has usually nothing to do with the function of a place, tells me do not bring them back here, like that means you really screwed up.
Yeah. That's major screw up.
That's bad news bear. Yeah.
And then, of course, that doesn't only look bad for them, but then that looks bad for you, too, because it
ruins my credibility as a producer to create a positive show experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate that. And I know some of the folks watching appreciate the information and the advice as well. So, yes, thank you. Thank you so much. And I know you've got all kinds of things coming up.
I do.
Here, Miss Busybody.
I've been sitting on my hands for the last 5 months. Yeah, I have like a list of things.
Yeah, so share with us. What do you have going up that folks can either, tune in virtually or attend or scope out and actually enjoy your performances? Because if you have not seen Vita perform yet, you're missing out. Definitely make girl fat. It's I'm being truthful.
I pay her to say nice things. Don't listen.
$5. It's fine.
I'll send you a Starbucks gift card.
Oh, God.
So my birthday is coming up, and I have 2 shows coming up for that. They're both online. September 2nd, I am performing with Trip Tease, which is going to be, I think it's a Zoom show usually. I've got a promo going for that already. So it's going to be an online burlesque show. I'm actually debuting some things for that. It's going to be really fun.
Ooh.
September 2nd. My birthday is on September 8th, and I'm doing a one-woman show on Zoom as well.
Yay!
Suggested ticketing is $5. It's entirely just me doing shows. It's going to be, I think, between 5 to 8 acts. It's going to rotate between pre-recorded material and live stream. So I'm going to be changing as I put on the pre-recorded acts and doing various things for everybody. It's going to be a mix of the sideshow, freak show, character impersonation, and classic burlesque.
Oh, nice. Now, if somebody wants to get in on that, how do they do that? How do they reach out to you and say, hey, here's some money, do the thing?
Send me $5 or any denomination of money that you choose to Venmo Vita Devoid. And I will email you a confirmation, and the day of the show, I will send out a Zoom meeting ID and password.
Nice.
So that is how to do that. So it's going to be a really fun one. It's my first time doing a one-woman show, so I'm actually terrified.
You're going to do great.
I'm terrified. I'm scared. I'm hoping that I can make it work and that it all goes very smoothly. So it's like, whew. But September 22nd, I am doing an online podcast and lecture with Elegant Jacqueline on Instagram. So that's going to happen. That's just free for everybody.
Awesome.
And tentatively,
okay,
I'm going to announce this officially. I will be in Florida from October 21st through November 2nd, working for Cocktails and Screams. We're doing 13 nights of horror. 13 Nights of Halloween. So October 23rd, I will be assisting Sid Savage for their freak show. October 28th, I will be performing and emceeing the Tim Burton party at Cocktails and Screams. And October 30th, I am your host with the most and burlesque feature and lecturer for their vampire ball. Tentatively. We are hoping that we can do this. We are taking every safety measure we possibly can. Social distancing measures will be taken. Very, very limited tickets because we want to make sure everyone is safe.
Yes.
I am high risk, so I have to make sure that I am safe.
Right.
Mask requirements will be
a thing.
Strictly enforced. So if you have an issue with that, don't bother coming because I will literally escort you out the door myself. So it's one of those like we're contingency planning for any possible outcome for that segment of events. But I'm very excited to come home and be in Orlando and be with everybody as closely or as distanced as I possibly can, as much as safety will allow.
Now, are they selling tickets now for that? I thought I saw something online that they were working on it.
Cocktails and Screams on Instagram. They have been posting their ticket links. They've been slowly releasing our promos. So it's going to be first come, first serve. So if you do want to come and see any of their events, get your ticket now because it's easily going to sell out very, very fast.
Yeah.
We're capping attendance at a very small number. So get it now. If we have to deal with a plan B, we're going to probably turn it into a live stream event from their venue. We're going to close the space. Plan C is if everything is shut down and it's a continuing catastrophe, I'm just going to create a space from home and create some shows and content, and we're going to do it that way.
Okay.
So we're coming up with as many backup plans as we possibly can to keep everyone as safe as we possibly can to make this happen. I'm very hopeful that we can make it go according to plan. We're trying to be as careful as we possibly can for this and make sure that everyone follows the rules and that it's safe.
Yes, that's the biggest thing, definitely. Especially,
it's important. I don't want to put myself at risk. I don't want to put my audience at risk or my venue staff at risk. That is a very big deal to me. And there have been ongoing live shows that the entire cast has fallen sick. And it's just like, that's really sad. So I think that I'm going to be the only talent that's present for a lot of these things. So it's very, very distanced and very strict measures will be there to make sure that it's very, very safe.
Awesome. That's great to hear and good to know because I know a lot of people that are still hunkered down like myself would like to get out at some point and check something out. So, I mean, that might be something that would be good for us, especially if it's going to be ticketed like that. So I'll have to...
Yeah, definitely get your tickets like now because they're capping it at a very, very tiny number. This will be the first time I leave my house since St. Patrick's Day.
Wow.
So I'm terrified. I'm terrified of getting on a plane. I'm terrified of being around people, but... it's Halloween season. I feel like people can be responsible as long as things are enforced very, very strictly. Like I'm bringing my own security for that. Like I'm bringing my own people in for it. So
good.
Making sure everyone is tested negative and safe and making sure they're taking care of each other.
Yeah. That's awesome. And very, very, very important.
Very.
Yes. So you've got quite the schedule going then.
Yeah, I do. It's going to be a big couple of months here. I just hope everything goes according to plan.
I hope so too. And if you guys aren't yet, make sure that you're following Vita on Instagram. She is under Vita Devoid. She posts all of her amazing upcoming events there, along with awesome daily pictures of beauty and gory grace. It's phenomenal.
Or fingers at my nose or whatever.
I mean, listen, whatever. whatever floats you. Let's see here. Now, I do have one last question, and then we'll see if anybody in the chat has questions. Go ahead and toss them in there now while I ask my final question. So I started asking kind of everybody this, and it always leads into either a fun rant or a full-on agreement with it. So, like you said, you love the horror genre, so I've got to ask, what's your favorite scary movie?
Ooh.
It's tough.
Ooh.
I know it's tough.
Can I do like a top 3?
Yes, you can do a top 3. You can do a top 5 if you want to. I'm good with that because I know you're a big horror person like I am, and I've got like a top 20, so you're good to go with a 5 if you want.
My nipples just got hard thinking about it. Number 1, they're usually series. I get into series films.
Okay.
Number 1 of all time is Subspecies.
Nice. Okay.
It's awful. It's horrible. But it was like my very first scary movie was Subspecies, and
nice.
It was funny because I saw it in the early 90s when vampires were sexy and hot and
weren't covered in glitter, just saying.
Well, no, this is like early 90s, like Interview with the Vampire and Bram Stoker's Dracula, and the Kindred the Embraced show was happening and all that.
My God,
stuff.
I missed that show.
I was crushing so hard on Julie and Luna, like just throb of my preteen thighs. So this Subspecies introduced the monster revenant beast-like vampires that terrified me. I was fucking terrified, but also strangely attracted to Raju Vladislas, and I thought he was just this gross, drooling monster, and horrible, and evil, and inhuman, and I loved it. Oh my God. Every sequel, including Vampire Journals, was just so well done and gritty, and it was done on a penny budget. They were doing makeup in a van. Like, they had no money at all.
It happens.
It was just like, hey. Yeah, it was like, hey, we're in Romania. This is what we got. We got a hill and some rocks.
Let's go for it.
We're going to make a movie. Don't tell anyone we're here. Right. So it's like incredible that they were able to create what they did with the budget and the sets and the means that they had. So that was just chef's kiss. So that's like number 1 all time. If you want to get laid on a date, put on Subspecies with me. That's what we're watching. We're going to get naked and make out and watch Raju drool all over these poor vampire girls. So, first runner-up. Ooh. I saw one that really screwed me up, and it was recent, and not a lot of people know about it, and it's called As Above, So Below.
Yes! It's fucking amazing!
I was fucked up the entire day after I watched that. Like, I was just... devastated and stressed out, and it's like a horror suspense historical drama.
So good.
It was mind fucked. I was really screwed up. That really messed me up. It was terrifying. I have a very hard time with body gore and with jump scares really bother me, and psychological things really bother me, and the way that was done was just so brilliant. It was really brilliant.
It was beautiful too, like visually it was amazing. It's girl,
it was incredible. And as a kid I was really into paleontology and historical digs, and ancient history always fascinated me, so that pulled from like my childhood obsessions. Like, I want to know how to read Sanskrit, and I'm an Egyptologist, and I'm into bones and dust and caves and like all this stuff. So it was like all of my favorite things, and drama and tension, and it was oh God.
The ending really of it is such a. I'm not going to give it away because I know there's people who haven't seen it yet, but that ending.
Oh God, it was just like, what?
Oh yeah.
Wait a minute. What?
I've rewatched it. Like, I literally probably watch it every couple of weeks. Because it's one of those films I keep going back to. Because I clearly enjoy it as well. But every time it gets to that ending, I'm just like, I'm still like, wow.
It's like, wait a minute. How? Yeah, it was just even more fucked up the way that they ended that.
Yeah.
It was really, really wild. That one, it traumatized me for a very long time. It took me a while to get over that. So when people ask me, like, what should I watch tonight? I want to watch horror. It's like, you should watch this one. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I recommend that one a lot, and The Autopsy of Jane Doe quite a bit.
You know, I didn't see that. I didn't see that.
Put it on your list. It's good.
I think my other horror obsession now, and it's not even really, it's not a movie series or a TV series. I am obsessed with Bailey Sarian and her makeup and mystery shows. She does these online social media broadcasts, and she'll talk about murders, serial killers, and mysteries while she paints her makeup on.
Yes, I've seen her. I come across her like randomly on YouTube. It's like, check this video out, or on Facebook. It's like, check this video out, and it's very entertaining.
She's very good because she gives you factual history. She started doing serial killers, and she touched on several Florida serial killers, which was very interesting. But I was following her just as a makeup person for years. And then she got into doing those broadcasts because she'll put her own personality on things like, why the fuck did this guy do that? I don't get it. Anyway, he did that.
Oh, I know. She's fun to watch.
And
I do enjoy her.
She's just so excited about these stories, and some of them are paranormal mysteries and murder and hauntings and possessions and exorcisms and
she's fun.
Horrific abuse stories and asylums and imprisonment, and like it's brilliant to watch her, and you get these cool history lessons while you watch. Yeah, I love her so much. So like those three things are like my favorite obsessions, and I will revisit them literally every week.
Yay.
I'm always watching them. Yeah.
Good. I love all of them. We did get a couple of questions in from the chat. I have Brian asking, and I think he may have came in a little bit late. He's asking what angle grinding is.
Okay, so angle grinding, if you want to bring up the picture.
Yes, ma'am.
So it is an angle grinding power tool, which is meant to grind down sharp edges on metal, steel, wood, or stone hardware. So it's a stone grinding wheel on a high-speed appliance, and it's usually applied pressure to a steel costume. In this photo, it is basically a DVD case-sized piece of raw steel, which is attached to a belt, and it creates this big spark. So usually this is done as accompaniment to an Alice Cooper-style rock and roll show. So it can be percussive on beat with the music. It can be visual with circus arts. It's very, very loud, though, so it's got to be in a very loud atmosphere. But you can do different effects and angles, and you can shoot sparks in different directions, and rhythmically you can create a very spectacular show that's very dangerous. So people that know these power tools understand like how actually dangerous this is. Mm-hmm. And usually it's half naked girls doing it. So it's like even more thrilling. Like, this girl's going to sever her femoral and bleed out and die on stage. And it's like, maybe. Who knows? So the costuming that I use, I have a breastplate that is basically metal Barbarella boobies.
Nice.
That I grind on. And then I have a belt piece, which is like a giant, like Paul Stanley looking cod piece that I grind on. So those are the parts that I use. You can also do it on axes or mufflers or any metal railings. You can slide it across metal railings. People in bands will tie off steel plates to their drum kits or guitar heads. And you can come from behind and grind sparks off of their instruments while they're playing shows. Usually it's involved with metal shows or shock rock shows.
Which makes perfect sense.
Yeah, so I actually just uploaded, I think to my Facebook and my Instagram on my IGTV on Instagram, a video I did, and it's a really cool collaboration with Macbeth Studios, and it was a slow motion angle grinding dance piece. So it'll show you all of the things. It's really cool.
Nice. All right. So, well, thank you for that question, Brian, and that was a wonderful answer. Thank you for explaining that so detailed. I do have a couple more questions. I have Andreas Catjar asking, what do you wish for your birthday?
That's one of my honeys. So Andreas is one of the incredible musicians in Covenant, which is one of my favorite bands. I'm blushing. He's amazing. He's one of my favorite people in the world. For my birthday, which is fast coming up, I never thought I would reach 38. That's weird.
You mean 28?
You're hilarious.
Girl, you don't look 38 at all.
I was born in September of 1982. I am turning 38.
I'm older than you are, so you're still young. It's fine.
What do you do here?
Virgin blood.
A Okay, that's the trick. For my birthday, I really want to fulfill print orders. I got myself a photo printer, and I'm doing printed autographed 8x10s. That's what I want to do.
Nice. And if anybody's interested in those orders, are you offering any one of your photos that you have available? Do you have a select set that you're working with right now?
Anything that does not have photographer credit on it can be printed and mailed. If it's a self-portrait, I can print it and send it and sign it, whatever you want on there. I can doodle dicks all over it, whatever you want. Anything I've ever shared that was a self-portrait, usually I'll tag the caption on anything, including shots from my OnlyFans, which are very much risque or nude or nasty. I'm happy to do that and send them out. So they are $20 each, autographed, printed, signed by me, and mailed out. That's really all I want. I want to print things. I want to see people take photos with my prints on the wall. Like, I really want to see that. It's something I've always wanted to do, and I never really got to do it because the material that I have, I can't trust Kinko's to print. I can't take it to a print shop and have it made. So any of my self-portraits are available. Go through my pictures. Let me know what you want. Send me a message. I'm happy to print for you and send them out. Other than that, what I really want, I want concert DVDs of Bucktick and Duran Gray.
Okay.
Japanese rock band live DVDs. Yeah. That's all I want.
Those are some good desires. Those are some good
Also,
birthday wishes.
Send me nudes. Send me nudes. I want to see your naked bodies. You guys see enough of me. It's time to cough them up.
Right? Tit for tat.
Tit for tat, literally.
No, on your photos, are you doing payment? Are you doing it via Venmo? Are you doing PayPal? What are the options?
So Venmo is the easiest because everything of my social media is at Vita Devoid.
Okay. Perfect.
Yep. So send me a message on Facebook or Instagram. You can always reach me. I'm very, very much online pretty constantly. I don't sleep.
Okay.
So send me a message. Let me know if you have a picture that you want. Send me a screenshot of it. I'll print it and mail it to you right away.
Awesome. And we've got one last question. So JD's asking, what performance are you dying to do in the future on stage once the world returns to a point where that can be a thing again?
Man, that's a hard one because I'm stuck with the duality of the ones that I really enjoy that I get a kick out of, and then the ones that bring the best response from a crowd.
Okay.
So there's kind of, it's, I want to please people, but I also want to please myself with my own vanity. Like, I want to put this on stage and you're going to suffer through it.
Well, how about one of each?
Or it's the one that everybody wants. It's Lucy, of course, is like the one everyone wants to see. It's I Love Lucy. It's fun, and I climb on top of people, and it's just fucking weird. There's video of it on YouTube, and it was a feature headlining act with Dragon Con. Like, that's Lucy is always my number one. And I think the one that gets the best rise out of people. Everyone just loves her so much. And I want to see, I want to get back on stage and do my Beetlehouse act. I have a 30-minute circus sideshow act.
Oh.
That's also on my YouTube channel. If you look for me up there, it's like a 35-minute act from Freak Show Deluxe. I really, really miss doing that. So it was 30 minutes on stage solo, which is very hard to do.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, that's difficult. I mean, 10 minutes of stand-up comedy is really difficult, and that entire act is a lot of talking. So it's like, okay, let's see. It's a lot of dick joke innuendo. I think that I hold the record in LA for longest stand-up act that's just dick joke innuendo in one show.
Nice. That's a badge of honor right there, lady.
But I really want to get back on stage and do that. I really miss it. I was doing it 6 nights a week at Beetlehouse, 5 shows a night, and I want to do it again. I didn't burn out. I really loved doing that show.
Good. Well, hopefully things will get back to a point where you can do that sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I hope so.
I'm hoping. All right, let's see what else we got. Anybody else? I think we're good. I think that wraps up our questions.
Should do a performance with Helza Poppin. Maybe. We'll see. We know each other. I'm friends with them.
Nice.
Maybe one day.
Do a Florida show. I'm just saying. If you do, just make sure it's a Florida one.
I'm coming back. It's all the Cocktails and Screams shows. I'm coming back. I will hopefully. That's the idea.
Everything works out.
Yes, so get your show tickets for that.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time this evening, for chatting with us, for hanging out, for sharing all of the amazing things. I definitely appreciate you, and I hope that we can do this again. This was a lot of fun.
Let's do it. We'll talk about weirder stuff next time.
Yes, I'm totally game. And if you guys are not yet, follow Vita Devoid on Instagram. Check out all of her fun antics that she has, and definitely get a ticket to one of the shows coming up. It's going to be worth it. Trust me.
Come to my one-woman show on Zoom.
Yes, it's happening.
It literally everywhere. All of my social media has promo. That particular gig is going to be a big deal for me. And I know it's not in person, but spend my birthday with me. I'm so lonely.
Yes, it's going to happen. You're going to have a great turnout. It'll happen. So thank you to everybody watching this evening. If you're watching on, YouTube, thank you guys for tuning in to check out the replay of this. And again, Vita Devoid on Instagram. Make sure you give her a follow. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. We're going to go ahead and wrap this bad boy up. So make sure that you kids keep it spooky out there.